I am going to go ahead and get started here by talking about a Christmas parade that should be relatively inclusive and fun, and it is anything but that. And this is the 2024 Cookeville-Putnam County Christmas Parade in Tennessee, something I knew nothing about like a week ago, and now I feel like I know everything about it. So this is supposed to be a huge local event, like for decades now, I think. The local PBS affiliate has carried this parade live, and they were scheduled to do it in mid-December because, and I'm just quoting from an article about this on the PBS website from last year. Check out what they said. The Cookeville-Putnam County Christmas Parade is one of the community's most beloved traditions. I guess besides the spelling bee, allegedly. It will be great to once again see Cookeville residents and local families enjoying this annual extravaganza. So that's how they promoted it last year. PBS, I mean, I watched the video of this on YouTube, and honestly, it was cute. It was very local. It was obviously not a high, the quality of production. We're not talking like Monday Night Football. We're talking like a couple cameras, local anchors, and a whole bunch of people just going down the street representing their community organizations, their cute floats. It's a nice local thing, right? So anyway, that's what they were planning to do this year. And just like last year, if you want to participate in the parade, maybe your organization, maybe your high school or your civic group wants to march in the parade. Maybe you want to drive a car that becomes a float in the parade. That's fine. You have to just fill out an application so everyone is kind of aware of what you're doing. It helps the organizers space everybody out, make sure there's nothing over the line or anything, all well and good. So this year, people were looking at the application, and this is what they saw. So look at this. Okay, 2024 Cookeville Christmas Parade. Just some basic details. It's like a 12-page form. But if you zoom in here, look at what they're asking. None of this is weird. Tell us the name of your group, title of your float, description of your float. All that's fine. If you have a category you belong to, fine. And then people got to page 4. What is this? Statement of faith. We believe the Bible to be the inspired, the only infallible, authoritative word of God. Like, what? Why? What does that have to do with the parade? It gets actually really messed up closer to the bottom here. Look at the one at the very bottom on page 4. We believe God's plan for human sexuality is to be expressed only within the context of marriage, that God created man and woman as unique biological persons made for each other. God instituted monogamous marriage between male and female as the foundation of the family and the basic structure of human society. And for this reason, we believe that marriage is exclusively the union of one genetic male and one genetic female, which is a weird and very specific way to say we really don't like transgender people. So this goes on for like a page. Can't forget this one at the very top of the page here. We believe that human life is sacred from conception to its natural end. Like, you can't even, if you think it's not really a baby until birth, you're not allowed to join. And if you think people who are suffering at old age and want to take life, put life in their own terms and end it on their own terms, you're not allowed to march in the holiday parade either. Anyway, it's very specific. And then it just goes right back to normal stuff. Like, tell us the description of your entry. The rest of, there's nothing weird about the rest of it. It is just very specific and very Christian. You would expect to see that sort of contract when you're becoming a member of like a Southern Baptist church. Why is that in the Christmas parade? Because I will tell you that was not there last year. So that's very weird. Very specific, very weird. And then this statement of faith was shared by some very popular Twitter accounts. Specifically, this is the one that caught most people's attention, the Tennessee Holler. They tweeted, inbox, Cookeville, the city's Christmas parade is requiring parade participants to sign a statement of faith, including a belief in the Bible, Jesus, only man-woman marriage, they forgot genetic, anti-abortion, and anti-trans, and the local PBS station is carrying it. So they shared this, and it went viral, and people got really mad about it. And like sometime last week, I started making calls. I called the PBS, or like the local PBS affiliate, and I asked them, like, I just want to know if you guys are still airing this now that it has become a no Jews allowed, no Muslims allowed, no atheists, no progressive Christians allowed. It's such a very specific event for a specific group of people. I wanted to know if the PBS affiliate would carry it. They did not return my phone call. I talked to someone at the city. Maybe I forgot if I talked to the city official or the Chamber of Commerce, but like none of these people knew what the hell was going on. The Chamber of Commerce said, we may have sponsored this thing last year, but we have nothing to do with it this year. The city has said on its website, like there's nothing about this parade on the city or county's website. So there is no government involvement here whatsoever, which makes this really interesting because they advertise this as the 2024 Cookeville Christmas Parade, but the city of Cookeville is saying we have nothing to do with this. And the Chamber of Commerce, which is not like an elected board or anything, but they're saying we have nothing to do with this. It seems like churches just took total control of the Christmas parade, slapped their statement of faith on the application, and they're treating this like an extension of their church. And in fact, that is what happened. Life Church and River Community Church appear to be the two local churches in charge of this. And they made it clear in the application the city has nothing to do with any of this except for like a liability waiver you have to sign. Like if you slip and fall on the road, you have to promise you're not going to sue the city over that or anything like that. Now, what made this interesting is this is not the first controversy that has happened with this parade. Last year, when the city and county had nothing to do with it, but the Chamber of Commerce did, this is what happened last year. Someone from a local pride organization, Upper Cumberland Pride, they filled out an application to be in the parade. They wanted a float. They wanted to have their group celebrated. And you could see from this article, we were told we could not be in the parade because we're not family friendly. And specifically, the Chamber of Commerce, the committee, said they voted that it was in the safety interests of all involved to not allow the Upper Cumberland Pride entry to participate. And I remember I saw that and I'm like, what do they think the gay people were going to do? Do they think they're going to wear like skimpy leather or nothing and dance around? Like, what were they afraid was going to happen during a Christmas parade? And in fact, the group said, our theme was Don We Now Our Gay Apparel. Very clever. We were planning to come out in couture fashion and voguing. I believe the word is couture there. But basically, they were going to wear fashionable stuff and they were going to dance. I can't do it. Nothing about that is not safe. Nothing about that is unfamily friendly. Like, what the hell were they so afraid of? But this is what happened last year. That was the big controversy. The gay group, the LGBT pride group, was not allowed to join in. And in fact, in a different article, someone asked the group why they were a threat to the parade, and this is what they said. Were you going to wear anything like scandalous? And they said, in no way, no Madonna cone bra. We would be completely covered head to toe. It's going to be 30 degrees outside. No one's coming out there in booty shorts. So that's last year. Like the big controversy is that the Chamber of Commerce is involved and they banned the LGBT pride group from coming. But guess what? The Chamber of Commerce is no longer involved in this festivity. Two churches are. And now it seems like nobody's allowed to participate in this group. But here's what happened. The Chamber of Commerce said we're not participating. And they basically ceded all the territory to the churches. And now no one's allowed to join in. The weirdest thing about the entire event, it seems, is that the people who signed the statement of faith also have to say they won't dress up as Santa because guess what, kids? Santa's already making an appearance at the parade. And I honestly don't get why a conservative Christian organization is having a Christmas parade where everyone has to pledge allegiance to Jesus and they're having like Rudolph and Santa and all the other signs of secular holidays that usually Christians tend to not like. Like, I don't know why they don't just have a giant nativity scene running through the whole parade. Why are you even bothering with secular anything at this point? I don't know. But the big question that remained is, why is PBS going to air this on their station? Because now that it's a church-run event and non-conservative Christians are not allowed to be a part of it, why is PBS promoting this? And this is what was interesting. They didn't return my call, but they posted this on Facebook last week. Let me share this with you. A message from WCTE. We have become aware of the recently posted application regarding the event titled Cookeville Christmas Parade. The station and its employees have not been involved in drafting the document. We were not informed of its contents prior to the release. ... Look at this part right here. The Upper Cumberland Broadcast Council and WCTE PBS are in consultation with their legal advisors and will issue an official statement as soon as it's completed. To me, what that says is, damn, we signed a contract saying we would air this thing, and now they changed the rules on us, so we're going to talk to our lawyers to see if we can get out of this, because we don't know, but we need to respond to you somehow. The city of Cookeville also responded to the statement of faith, and they're like, stop blaming us, stop writing to us, stop calling us, this has nothing to do with us. They say, while the parade has certainly been a welcome tradition for the residents of the city, it simply has never been produced by the city in many decades. This year, the chamber has decided not to put on the Christmas parade, but a local private group sponsored by local churches has asked to put on their own parade. The city had nothing to do with any of this. ... It's extremely unfortunate that something like a Christmas parade has become such a controversial event, but we're not involved in this event at all. Like, my dudes, you handed it over basically to a Christian group, and now you're surprised it became controversial? What did you think was going to happen? That they would be like, everyone's welcome here? When have conservative Christian churches ever done that about anything? Anyway, the city is right, though. They have nothing to do with this. People should stop blaming them. I think that's a fair thing for the city to point out. But what's going to happen now? Because think about this. Churches are allowed to apply for street closures and permits, and they can rent police protection. This is not a church-state separation issue, but the city can't entirely distance itself from what's happening. But the bottom line is that because the event is run by churches, guess what happened? The event that used to be a big local community tradition has become entirely defined by its bigotry and who the Christian organizers want to keep out. No Jews allowed, no atheists allowed, whatever. It's no longer a celebration of the holidays. And I think people in those communities should keep that in mind when they are wondering, should we attend as a family? No. So here's what has happened since then. This just happened, like, I think a day or two ago, but PBS just issued an update. After careful review of concerns raised, blah, 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 about all this, WCTE and the Upper Cumberland Broadcast Council have determined the station will not air the planned Christmas parade for 2024, but will do something else instead. Okay, fine. So PBS somehow decided we can get out of this contract. We're not going to participate in it, which is very interesting because I imagine the Christian churches that took over this event said to themselves, you know what everyone loves? This Christmas parade. Why don't we take charge of it and we'll use it as advertisement for our churches? And now the only way that was getting broadcast to the community through PBS is saying, yeah, dog, we're not doing this at all. Which means this event is no longer going to be seen by anybody except the attendees. And over the next couple of weeks, you can guarantee that when people talk about this event, it's going to be about the hate that is defining this parade and the exclusivity, and not the let's bring people together to celebrate Jesus or anything like that, right? Which, I don't know, that seems to defeat the purpose of the parade. And I think it has now backfired on the churches that are running this thing. And making things even more interesting, I saw this as well. A local community group has decided to put on its own parade that is inclusive. If you go to GoFundMe right now, you can contribute to this community parade on December 2nd. They've already raised $4,000, which is very impressive. And this is the person creating this is Montana Chambers. She runs a small business, a witchy shop. And you can see here, Christian fascism is alive and well, but me and some other folks are determined to not let that stand and to create our own inclusive holiday parade, which is wonderful. That sounds amazing. I love that this is the response in a part of Tennessee that is relatively rural. They're saying, fine, if Christians are taking over this thing and they're making it worse, the rest of us are going to come together and have something that involves our entire community, and it's centered around love and inclusivity. And then, fine, Christians 2 weeks later, they can have their little hate party if they want, which that's the right way to respond to this. I love it. And I'm so excited that this seems to have a happy ending. Though the better ending would be if the city found a way to take charge of this in the future and turned it into something everyone can participate in. But for now, I'll take it. All right. I'm going to stop there for now. What questions do we have? What comments do we have? So a parade requires a statement of faith. When it's run by Christians, yeah, it does, apparently. How are they even going to check? This is what I was wondering. I know participants have to sign the statement of faith, but let's say you lie about it and you think women are people. Like, what are they going to do to figure out that you don't actually believe any of that stuff? What are you? Do you have to take a test beforehand? Are they going to ask you questions like TSA at an airport? I don't know. They're taking it, I assume, on the honor code. But seriously, you could just lie and say you want to participate and no one's going to stop you. Is Cookeville going to provide police or fire trucks in the parade or for the public? Seems like people would need to pay for that. My understanding of that is they might, but just like any outside event, the people organizing the event would have to pay for it, and it's in their hands. Like in my community, there is a church that when they have services on Sunday, they kind of ruin traffic on a really busy road, and they have police who guide the traffic around there. But it's the church's responsibility to pay for those cops who are basically doing work outside of their, day job to do that stuff. And that's fine. That's not a church state situation either. As long as the organizers have filed the proper paperwork, they're paying whatever they need to pay, then fine. That's actually not that big of a deal. PBS is one of the things Trump wants to defund. No kidding. Public anything Trump wants to defund. And this idea that they're not going to show the Christian service, that's the right move. But you can imagine in a certain type of government, they would receive a lot of retaliation for that. People, if you haven't voted, go vote. Vote for the Democrats. What are you doing? What is wrong with you at this point if you haven't? Don't wait till Election Day. Things might happen. You might get distracted. Don't wait till Election Day. Go do it this weekend. There's early voting a lot of places.